Good morning, everyone. It is Attorney Sellers with Sellers Law Group. I wanted to come in today and just provide some legal insight on the Anthony Joshua, can't talk this morning, Anthony Joshua car crash, okay? If you're not familiar with who Anthony Joshua is, he is the UK boxer who just defeated Jake Paul in a boxing match. And the news of that match, it seems like he broke Jake Paul's jaw or something like that. That do not sound worth the money. But anyways, moving on. That's not why I'm here today. I am here to kind of talk about the car crash that he was involved in Nigeria. So after reading the details of the car crash, it appears the driver that was hired whether it was hired by Mr. Joshua or was hired by one of the friends, somehow he was paid to drive them around Nigeria. And reading the details, it looks as if he was speeding, he was driving without a license, and there was some form of a stationary truck in their pathway, and he ended up making contact with that stationary truck. Okay. So it appears that due to them hitting that stationary truck, that is what caused the unfortunate events of Mr. Joshua's friends losing, or two of his friends that was in the vehicle losing their lives, and Mr. Joshua sustaining some injuries from that car crash. So what I wanted to do this morning is kind of provide details of what it would look like if I was Anthony Joshua's attorney and if this car crash had actually happened in Alabama. Okay. So first and foremost, let's talk about liability. So with the driver being charged with the things that he was charged with the negligent driving, reckless driving, driving without a license, driving without due care, that is a huge indicator that he did something wrong. Of course, we will be looking to see if there's video evidence of everything. And clearly, of course, if you go on the internet, there is a clear video of what happened in this accident. Now, how would Mr. Joshua recover as a passenger from the driver who caused this accident? That's a great question. So who is at fault? Is it the stationary truck who should have not been in the pathway, just kind of blocking the travel lanes? Is it them? Or is it actually the driver who has been charged with criminal charges of, I think it was negligent and reckless driving, driving without a license, driving without due care, who's actually facing criminal charges right now. I know it's in Nigeria, but let's just say if he would be facing these charges in Alabama. Who would be at fault? Well, the thing about it is, I, as a personal injury attorney, I would definitely say it would be the driver. So with the driver being charged with reckless driving, driving without a license, driving without due care, negligent driving, it's a clear indicator that he did something wrong, and that he more than likely was the primary contributor to this accident happening. So if this was to happen in Alabama, Mr. Joshua, who would be my client, he would have a recourse against the driver. However, Alabama have what we call the Alabama guest passenger statute that Mr. Joshua would have to overcome. And the Alabama guest passenger statute is just a fancy statute to say, hey, if you're a passenger in the vehicle and that vehicle happened to be involved in an accident, you cannot sue that driver. Okay. However, there are exceptions to where you can sue them, and this is a clear classic case. Mr. Joshua case is where that rule states if you pay for a ride, which of course we already said that Mr. Joshua or someone in that vehicle paid for this ride for them, and then there's also an exception to the rule that states if the driver engages in conduct that is out of the reasonable care, from an ordinary person in that circumstance or in that situation, then you may be able to get around the guest passenger statute. So I think Mr. Joshua case is a clear-cut case of one that would kind of overcome the Alabama guest passenger statute, because like I said, number one, the ride was paid for, right? And then number two, with this driver being charged with the charges that he is charged with, is a clear-cut indicator that he did something wrong, and that was out of the ordinary of the regular, driving situation. So if that driver had any form of insurance on that vehicle, a claim can be filed, bodily injury claim could be filed with his insurance, and Mr. Joshua could pursue recovery that way. So he could pursue recovery from the driver's insurance, but if that way is not successful, meaning, if that driver didn't have any form of coverage, he may want to pursue uninsured motorist coverage. Now, one thing we also have to take into consideration is that 2 people did lose their lives, and so I'm pretty sure wrongful death claims would come. The families would pursue wrongful death claims also against this driver who was charged with the reckless driving and things of that nature. So that coverage may not be enough to cover everybody, and so I was mentioning that Mr. Joshua may need to pursue uninsured motorist coverage. And so uninsured motorist coverage, of course, is a coverage where in the event that the person who is liable for the accident do not have enough coverage, meaning money-wise, limits-wise, to cover the damages, which is your medical bills, your pain and suffering, your lost wages, things of that nature. If their policy is not enough to cover your damages, then you can tap into your own auto policy if you have underinsured motorist coverage. And I advise everyone, if you're in Alabama, please add uninsured/underinsured motorist coverage to your policy, because it is so important. A lot of people in Bama, unfortunately, what I see in this practice area, most of them do not have coverage, or they only have the minimum, which is $25,000 in Alabama. And sometimes ER bills are, if you have a serious injury, it's 3 times that. So I would advise you to please add uninsured motorist coverage to your policy. And so Mr. Joshua would definitely have a claim against this driver. And potentially he may have a underinsured or uninsured motorist claim under his own policy. So there would be some form of recourse that he could follow. I wanted to tap into the stationary truck portion of this, but maybe I'll make that a part 2. I don't want this video to get too long, because there could still be potentially a recourse against the stationary truck. In the PI world, sometimes there's avenues every way, but I don't want to make this video long. I hope that this was very informational to you, and prayers and thoughts to Mr. Joshua and to his friends, family, the friends who lost their lives, with prayers to their family. Accidents happen and they do not discriminate. It does not matter if you're rich, if you are the average citizen, it does not matter. And it's important for you to know your rights. So if you or a loved one have been injured, give our office a call. Our injury consultations are free. And I hope you have a great day.